seeing the fallen condition of people of Kali Yuga at the beginning itself. At the beginning of Kali Yuga itself, the people had become so fallen. Advaita Acharya, taking compassion upon them, he prayed to Lord Krishna sitting on the banks of the Ganges, offering the Ganges water to the Shaligram on the banks of the Ganges, pleading the Lord to appear. So Advaita Acharya and Srila Haridas Thakur, these two personalities actually prayed for Lord Krishna to appear. And because of his plea, Lord Krishna appeared. One of the uh, major reasons for Lord Krishna's appearance, the external reason. And also, it was Srila Advaita Acharya who also indicated to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he can conclude his pastimes on the earthly planet. So Advaita Acharya also indicated to the Lord. He gave a very peculiar example that something like, my dear Lord, the rice is no more in demand, or the rice is sufficient in the market. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and understood the import of this particular mention by Advaita Acharya. And then Mahaprabhu decided to conclude his pastimes on this earthly planet. So he's such a powerful personality who brought Krishna to this world and assisted Krishna throughout, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout his pastimes, and then also planned to conclude the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on this earth. So very, very special personality. And he was a disciple of Srila Madhavendra Puri, who was the Param Guru, who was the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master was Ishwara Puri, and Ishwara Puri's spiritual master was Madhavendra Puri. And there were other disciples of Madhavendra Puri as well, who were associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, I believe Paramananda Puri as well, and so on. Plus Govinda, who was the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Uh, he was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own god brother, that means Ishwara Puri's disciple. But it was instruction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master Ishwara Puri for Govinda to assist Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his personal servant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just to honor the wish of his spiritual master, accepted Govinda as his personal assistant, personal servant, just to honor the wish of Ishwara Puri. So, and there is also that beautiful song, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More, uh, sung by Narottam Das Thakur, in which Advaita Acharya is also glorified. Daya Karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Tava Kripa Bole Paha Chaitanya Nitai. That means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu both sing and pray for the blessings and mercy of Srila Advaita Acharya. So very, very special personality. And we also saw during the Bhakti Shastri session, when Sachi Mata had some misunderstanding about Advaita Acharya, being upset with him because of both her sons being closely associated with him and then subsequently taking sannyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not very happy with Sachi Mata carrying this thought in her mind about Advaita Acharya, that Advaita, although your name is Advaita, which means non-dual, you have caused great pain to me by taking away my, of course, Advaita Acharya never asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take sannyas, but Sachi Mata thought that because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his earlier life as a householder, Nimai Pandit was associating closely with Advaita Acharya, that was the cause for he giving up home. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not give his mercy to Sachi Mata during the Mahaprakash Leela, because he considered that offense as a very serious at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. And then one time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in ecstasy in Rath Yatra, and then Advaita Acharya began to dance in ecstasy as well in the Kirtan. And when he fell unconscious, the devotees taking advantage of this had Sachimata take the dust of Advaita Acharya's lotus feet on her head, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu subsequently uh, let her go of that specific offense due to misunderstanding about Advaita Acharya. So very powerful personality. We should all pray for his mercy, and he's very merciful. In fact, the very reason why he prayed to Lord Krishna was to grant mercy of Lord Krishna upon the fallen condition of people in Kali Yuga. So very, very merciful personality. So, as part of our discussion today, what I have thought of is, since last time when we discussed this particular chapter about the cause of all causes, which explains mainly Lord Brahma's answers to question number three by Narada Muni about how the creation takes place, and this reference being given by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, I felt that some of the details were a bit technical. Plus, many of the devotees were quite quiet. They were a bit quiet, so I was a bit concerned whether the details are clear. And even if not, for our own purification, we can do a quick revision of the chapter, and specifically revision also of the chart that we went through last time, where I prepared some of the details which I wanted to explain, like difference between Pradhana and Mahatattva, and added made some minute formatting changes to this slide. I would be sharing the slide deck again. And I have also added a flow chart uh, to explain the overall creation sequence. So let us see uh, how we go through the details. And upfront, I want to acknowledge that I did refer to a specific session conducted by a very illustrious devotee in our movement. Her name is Her Grace Arudha Mataji. Now, who is Arudha Mataji? To give some background, she is the disciple of one of Srila Prabhupada's very senior disciples, sannyasi disciples, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who left this earthly planet few months ago, around 3 4 months ago. And she has been famous in the ISKCON movement for her contribution in terms of teaching Srimad Bhagavatam to children in general. I don't know whether you can see this. There is a very beautiful book in my hand which is titled Homeschooling Krishna's Children. So Arudha Mataji, she taught both her sons. Uh, she did homeschooling for her sons just based on Srimad Bhagavatam. So some of the other books she did refer to for maths, etc. However, English language, history, literature, and philosophy, all these other aspects, and even part of the science as well. She taught all these subjects based on Srimad Bhagavatam. So very, very exemplary mother and devotee. And this book is also available on Amazon, Homeschooling Krishna's Children. And some of her sessions are available on YouTube, and I have heard her earlier in Pune, etc. So I did refer to one particular session she conducted for children on this topic of creation to take help for our discussion as well. So let's start with a short kirtan. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's on the brief introduction we had? One for who is Srila Advaita Acharya, and the summary we are going to discuss based on Arudha Mataji's presentation. All right, so let's start with a short kirtan. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जयो राधा गोविंद, राधा गोविंद श्री राधे, जय गौरानीता गौरानीताय गौरानीताय जय गौरानीताय, जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज जी की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त श्रीराधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's Mataji's welcome you all to today's discussion. So we were discussing initially about this illustrious devotee Arudha Devi Mataji, and I mentioned about her children, and also important to know that both her children in their 20s they got PhD from top universities like Oxford and all. And right now her elder son, His Grace Revati Raman Prabhu, he is a professor in Oxford. So very well accomplished devotee. And one more point, yesterday we had the good fortune to hear from another very amazing devotee in our movement, whose writings and whose notes also we refer to. as part of his Subodhini writings. So His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu gave Srimad Bhagavatam class in the temple yesterday. So that was also very nice. So many of often you would see me taking points from Subodhini, which have been uh, composed, giving such analytical and easy to understand view of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So let's go through the verses as part of the revision. Prabhuji's, Mataji's. So at the beginning of chapter 4, which is the earlier chapter in this particular canto, second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see Parikshit Maharaj requesting Shukadev Goswami to describe how does Lord create this cosmic manifestation. And all these great souls like Shukadev Goswami, and acharyas coming in disciplic succession, including the predecessor acharya, Lord Brahma himself. We see them offering their gratitude and prayers to the Supreme Lord before they begin to answer any inquiries by their disciples. So Shukadev Goswami from the middle of chapter 4, text 12 onwards, offers beautiful prayers to the Supreme Lord. And before answering the inquiries made by Parikshit Maharaj, in order to answer those inquiries, he refers to the conversation between Lord Brahma and Narada Muni on this same topic, where Narada Muni does inquire to Lord Brahma about the creation. So he refers to Brahma Narada Samvad. So we'll go text by text. We won't go through the purport because it will take very long since this is a revision. But if there is any specific point, we would refer to a selected part of the purport. Feel free to stop in between if any point is not clear. So text 1, Narada Uvacha Devadev Namastestu Bhuta Bhavana Purvaja Tad Vijanihi Yajnanam Atma Tattva Nidarshanam. So Narad Muni, he inquires from Lord Brahma, O chief amongst the demigods, O firstborn living entity, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please tell me that transcendental knowledge which specifically directs one to the truth of the individual soul and the super soul. So that knowledge, yat vijnanam, atma tattva nidarshanam, which can delineate the details, the differences between the soul and the super soul, atma tattva, that the soul and the super soul. Please explain the details of these two. Excuse me. My dear father, please describe factually the symptoms of this manifest world. What is its background? How is it created? How is it conserved? And under whose control is all this being done? So, Srila Prabhupada explains in one of the discussions on this particular topic of creation about Narada Muni's inquiries to Lord Brahma. Srila Prabhupada mentions just like when we, as an ordinary person, sometimes if when we go to train station, we take train, but we don't consider much how this train is being maintained, how it has been created, how it is being managed and run. A normal person just bothers about getting into the train and going to his destination. But Narada Muni is not like that. Narada Muni wants to understand all the nitty-gritties of the details of this cosmic manifestation, from where it has come about, whose intelligence has been behind this particular creation, and whether it is being done by Brahma by himself, as Narada Muni would ask in the subsequent verses. So this is Srila Prabhupada calls is as a top level intelligence, that the devotee wants to know everything. And the very reason for devotees wanting to know about creation, either it is Parikshit Maharaj or be it Narada Muni, is they want to know about Krishna as the creator. They want to know more about Lord Krishna, and that can be understood only starting with Lord Krishna's creative potency. So basic ABC of understanding Krishna, we see consistently in all these inquiries. Parikshit Maharaja's inquiry to Shukadev Goswami, Narad Muni's inquiry to Lord Brahma, or Vidura's inquiry to Maitreya Maharshi about the process of creation being asked. And in the third verse, Narada Muni says, Sarvam hi etat bhavan veda bhuta bhavya bhavat prabhu kara amalaka vad vishwam vijnana tava. So he glorifies Lord Brahma that I am asking you because Sarvam hi etat bhavan veda. Veda means knowledge, that you are all knowing. You know definitely, my dear father, how this creation has happened. And he gives the example just like a child holding the amalaka fruits. So in the translation purport, Srila Prabhupada translates amalaka fruits as walnuts. But if simple Google, if we do, amalaka is sometimes also referred to as the amla, the gooseberry fruits. So either of it we consider, when these fruits are held in the hand of a child, the child knows very well how many fruits I am holding and where they have come from and all that. Similarly, it is just like the amalaka fruit in the hand of a child. It is as simple as, to that level of details, you are aware how this cosmic manifestation has been brought into existence. My dear father, all this is known to you scientifically because whatever was created in the past, whatever will be created in the future, and whatever is being created at present, as well as everything within the universe is within your grasp, is within your grip, just like a walnut. So some of these great devotees, including Narada Muni himself, as well as Lord Brahma, as well as some of the other great personalities like Vyasadeva, they are known as Trikalagya. That means they know past, present, and future. Vyasadeva could envisage the future fallen, degraded condition of people of Kali Yuga and made arrangements to mitigate and address that specific scenario beforehand. Similarly, Narada Muni, he is also, and even Shukadev Goswami, he is also referred to as in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that just like a Paramatma is present within the heart of all living entities and knows what is going on in the hearts of all living entities. Similarly, Shukadev Goswami also has that capability to see through and through within the heart of each living entity. So these great personalities are not ordinary persons. So Narad Muni, acknowledging the greatness of Brahma, he petitions him that you definitely know past, present, and future. So you should be able to guide me on this inquiry. यत् विज्ञानो यत् आधारो यत् परस्त्वं यत् आत्मकः एकं सृजसि भूतानि भूतैरेवात्ममायया. My dear Father, what is the source of your knowledge? Under whose protection are you standing? Under whom are you working? What is your real position? Do you alone create all entities with material elements by your personal energy? So basically, now Narada Muni, after asking the first set of questions in text number 2 and 3, which were 6 questions: characteristics of the universe, shelter of the universe, how is it created, maintained, dissolved, and what does it depend upon, what all ingredients is it made of. After asking this preliminary set of questions, then in this particular text is inquiring whether there is anyone who has guided Lord Brahma in this creation, or is it on his own that Lord Brahma creates this cosmic manifestation, creates this specific universe, not cosmic manifestation. Cosmic manifestation has many universes, but within this universe, the creation happens, is done by Lord Brahma. And in text 5, Narad Muni gives example of a very specific creature who is able to create without any external help. And that creature is spider. Narad Muni mentions, Atman bhavayase tani न परा भावयन् स्वयं आत्मशक्तिम् अवस्थभ्य ऊर्ना urnanabhir ivaklamaha. So just like uh, urnanabhir, just like the spider is able to create without any external help. And how do we understand this example? One second. Yeah. So some of these photos I have put fresh for spider. So what is the specialty of spider? The spider creates the web using its own saliva and then uses that web as its residence, plus also as a trap to catch its prey to get its food. And after the spider has stayed in the web for whatever time it wants, then it can even consume the web by in its own body, and there is no any trace of the web existing. If the spider decides to destroy the web, it can simply consume it. So it is able to create the web using the saliva, maintain the web as its residence and the place where it can catch its prey, as well as consume it, annihilate it using its own body. So without any external help, the spider is able to do all this. So Narada Muni is implying for Lord Brahma, whether it is the same case with Lord Brahma, that by you yourself, by your self sufficiency, you are also creating everything within this universe. So is it the same case for you also? And then Narada Muni mentions his doubt. One second. Yeah, then he continues to glorify Narada Muni even in the next verse, text number 6, but then in the text 7 mentions his doubt. Whatever we can understand by the nomenclature, characteristics, and features of a particular thing, superior, inferior, or equal, eternal or temporary, is not created from any source other than that of your lordship, thou so great. So, this is again glorification of Narada Muni proceeding. And one second. Then Narada Muni expresses his doubt. स भवान् आचरद् घोरं यत्तप सुष्मा हितः तेन खेदयसेनस्त्वं पराशङ्कां शङ्कां च यच्छसि. That yet we are moved to wonder about the existence of someone more powerful than you when we think of your great austerities in perfect discipline, although your good self is so powerful in the matter of creation. So Narada Muni, after glorifying Lord Brahma through text 4, 5, and 6, then ask this question, Acharat Ghoram Yat Tapaha, that such severe austerities, if Lord Brahma is performing, then he must be praying for the guidance of some higher authorities. So while we see you have created everything and it appears that you are self-sufficient, but we have also seen you performing great austerities. That means, is there any higher power or authority whose favor and guidance you are pleading for in order to perform your service of creation? Tena khedayasena stvam parashankam ya param shankam cha yachasi. That please clear these doubts. When we think of your great austerities in perfect disciplines, although your good self is so powerful in the matter of creation, then is there anyone else who is more powerful than you who you are praying to? And Srila Prabhupada explains that how it is the duty of a disciple to inquire from the spiritual master and not accept from him blindly. Like Srila Prabhupada used to appreciate the inquiries from his disciples, so much so that there was one specific disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Dr. T.D. Singh, who later on became Bhakti Swarup Damodar Goswami Maharaj. So he was a very learned scholar and scientist, and Srila Prabhupada used to really relish inquiries by Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj and answering those inquiries, and encourage his disciple to keep on asking these inquiries, and in turn whatever details Srila Prabhupada was giving to him, he did inspire Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj to hold various conferences for the scientific communities to come together and discuss about these inquiries, about the creation, about the Supreme Lord, and how this world has come about. And there is a one specific book which details the questions asked by Dr. T.D. Singh, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Goswami Maharaj, and answers by Srila Prabhupada, which is life comes from life. So Srila Prabhupada did appreciate these inquiries and never discouraged them that my because I am saying you so, you should accept it. Srila Prabhupada liked to reason and give references from the scriptures to prove his point. So here Narada Muni is inquiring to his spiritual master and father Lord Brahma that is there any being who is superior and to you, who you are petitioning for giving you guidance through performance of austerities, etc. Narada Muni thought of Brahmaji as the supreme person, but when he saw Brahmaji engaged in the process of transcendental realization, doubts arose in him, so he wanted to be clearly informed. My dear Father, you know everything and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me so that I may be able to understand it as your student. And with this inquiries come glorification put forth by Narada Muni to Lord Brahma. Then Lord Brahma begins to respond. Brahma uvacha Samyak karunika sedam vatsate vichiksitam yat aham chodita saumya bhagavat virya darshane. So he glorifies the inquiries put forth by Narada Muni, his own disciple and son, because these inquiries would in turn lead to Bhagavat Virya Darshane. These inquiries will lead to glorification of the prowess of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So that's why these inquiries are glorious, Lord Brahma says. So he is not accepting the glorification of Narada Muni just for his own aggrandizement or own pleasure, but immediately giving credit to the Supreme Lord, saying that the topics of like whatever answers will be given by for these inquiries that you have put for Narada will result in Bhagavad Virya Darshane. It will result in glorification of the prowess of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead. And then Brahma lovingly also uh, chastises Narada Muni. But before that, we see here Srila Prabhupada mentioning in the purport that the pure devotees are not only satisfied by knowing everything about the Lord, but are also eager to broadcast the information to others. For they want to see that the glories of the Lord are known to everyone. Thus, the devotee feels satisfied when such an opportunity is offered to him. This is the basic principle of missionary activities. So we see even when great sannyasis and various senior devotees within the movement, they visit the center temple where we are based. Sometimes we see even if the topic of discussion may be bit technical and all, each of them most of the times they make sure there is sufficient time for devotees to ask questions. And sometimes even if there are no questions or even one or two questions, they do encourage and they do encourage and support devotees in clarifying their inquiries, because the purpose is that when the inquiries come from one person, as long as the inquiries result in explanation of the details about the Supreme Lord, those inquiries are glorious for all three classes of people. We saw as part of our slides various texts from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which explain how the inquiries and the discussions about Lord Krishna, they are beneficial for those who are inquiring, those who are answering those inquiries, plus those who are referring to those conversations. For all these classes of people, these discussions are very, very helpful and uplifting. So pure devotees are definitely enlivened whenever they are presented with a chance to talk about Lord Krishna, to explain Lord Krishna. And then Lord Brahma, he very lovingly corrects the misconception of Narada Muni, which Narada Muni showed during text 4 to 6, glorifying Lord Brahma, that it appears that you are self sufficient, just like a spider is able to create the web, maintain, and then annihilate it without any external help. It appears that you are also able to create this, the creation within this Brahmanda, within this universe, by yourself and without any external help. So Lord Brahma clarifies that misunderstanding or misconception by Narada Muni by saying, Nan Nanrutam tava tachapi yatha mam prabravishibho avigyaya paramatta etavatvam yato me. That he says, whatever you have spoken about me is not false. So I definitely create. However, what is, because unless and until one is aware of the personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate truth behind me, is sure to be illusioned by observing my powerful activities. So, my dear boy Narada, it is quite natural for any person external to observe me doing this, performing the service of creation, and thinking that is it me on my own who is performing this service. Why? Because to the naked senses, it appears like Lord Brahma is by himself creating, but this is only due to the illusory energy of the Lord, that it appears that I am the creator on my own. So that is not very extraordinary that you felt that way, but he is also mentioning upfront that it is due to the influence of the illusory energy of the Lord, and it is not 100% true. And then he acknowledges in his response upfront, Ena swarocisha vishwam rochitam rochayami aham yatharkognir yatha somo yathar yatharkshagrahatarakah. That Lord Brahma says, Rochitam Rochayami Aham, that I create based on whatever has already been created by Lord Krishna, by the Supreme Lord. And he gives the example just like uh, Yatha Arko, Agnir Yatha Somo, just like the sun is responsible for the heat, light, and energy that is passed, and even the fire that is passed to different elements within this cosmic manifestation, including the soothing light that is passed to Soma, that means moon god, or even the fire that is passed to the wood within this earthly planet. So there is a fire within wood. Bhagavad Gita also mentions, though it is unmanifested, it becomes manifested when we bring that wood in touch with the fire. Then the wood, if it is dry, it starts blazing and burning very, very powerfully. Why? because there is inherent fire within that wood. Similarly, there is a power of sun, the energy that is also invested by sun in different fruits, vegetables, etc. So Brahmaji is giving the example that just like the sun is the source of fire, light, energy for all these various elements within this earthly planet, but the source of that fire within all these elements is the sun, and Krishna in turn is the source of light and energy for that sun. Like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that the sun and the moon are my eyes, and Bhagavad Gita also mentions how the sun derives its energy and light from the light emanating from the body of the Lord in the form of Brahma Jyoti. So Brahmaji is giving example, just like the sun manifests the energy coming from the Lord in the form of fire, light, etc. in various elements, but that energy is not coming from the sun, it is already given by the Lord through Brahma Jyoti. Similarly, my dear boy Narada, I also create based on whatever is already created by the Supreme Lord. Rochitam rochayami aham. So he gives the analogy of the sun. And because of the illusory energy of the Lord, this creation appears so wonderful. It appears to the foolish or ignorant living entities that I myself, Lord Brahma, is creating. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that it is not that Narada Muni is an ignorant being. He is highly elevated and enlightened personality, but sometimes these personalities play the part of an ignorant being just for the upliftment of people in this world. Or sometimes Krishna himself puts them into such bewilderment or ignorance. And Srila Prabhupada gives the example of just like Arjuna. Arjuna was put into bewilderment and confusion by the special will of the Lord, so that the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita can be spoken to Arjuna, and through Arjuna it would be available to all the people in this world. So the parampara should be continuing from there onwards. And so we saw two examples for Lord's creation, how primarily Lord invests his energy into one specific entity, which in turn passes, reflects that energy into so many other elements and entities within this world. First example is given, that of the sun, and the second example is also given in Bhagavatam, just like a banyan tree. So in this regard, Srila Prabhupada explains, say for example, a farmer sows the seed, and through the seed, various crops and the trees and the plants, they come about giving so many fruits and grains and so many other things. But the farmer is not capable of or responsible for creating the seed. The seed as such is created and given by the Lord himself. But the farmer or a gardener can sow that seed and make a plant grow and derive so many flowers, fruits, etc. Similarly, Lord Brahma in this case is also compared to a gardener who sows the seed that is given by Lord Krishna. And we will see in the next part of this particular chapter what do those seed indicate in the process of creation. So similar to this gardener, Brahma is also only sowing the seed, and then through the process of watering, etc., deriving, like making the plants grow up and deriving so many fruits and flowers coming out of it. So this is also another important analogy. Brahma cannot create the seeds, but he can manifest the seed into a tree, just as a gardener helps plants and orchards to grow by the watering process. So this is the second example after sun. So please do try to understand these examples, because these are directly given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should, as much as possible, we should try to explain a point using the examples quoted by Srila Prabhupada in his books. And then before beginning to answer Narada's inquiries about the process of creation and all the different 6 questions that Narada Muni asked Lord Brahma, Brahmaji also offers prayers to the Supreme Lord. I offer my obeisances and meditate upon Lord Krishna, Vasudev, the personality of Godhead, whose invincible potency influences them, the less intelligent class of men, to call me the supreme controller. And then Brahmaji explains that how it is the illusory potency of the Lord, the Maya Shakti, which causes the living entities to consider an ordinary person as the supreme. And but he says that this Maya potency, it is vilajya manaya, it is subordinate, subservient, and it's very shy of the Lord. This Maya potency cannot stand in front of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, it means that the Maya potency cannot influence the Lord. The Lord is always beyond the influence of the Maya potency. It never comes under the influence of Maya. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in the thoughts of I and mind. And then Lord Brahma begins to specifically answer the questions by Narada Muni one by one, first starting with question number 2 and 5. So those 2 questions are, what is the shelter of this cosmic manifestation, and what does the cosmic manifestation depend upon? So both these questions point to one simple answer, which is the Supreme Lord. Dravyam karma cha kalascha swabhavo jiva eva cha vasudevat paro brahman na chanyo arthosti tatvatah. That the 5 elementary ingredients of the creation, the interaction thereof for those 5 elements, set up by eternal time, and the intuition or nature of the individual living entities are all differentiated parts and parcels of the personality of Godhead, Vasudev. And in truth, there is no other value in them. So, also referring to the chart, we are going to go through deeply these 3 things about the living entities, the fate of the living entities. One second. Yeah, that word is used by Srila Prabhupada in the next verses. So, karma, oops, yeah, karma refers to the activities or fate of the living entities. Kala refers to the time factor, and dravyam, sorry, Swabhava. Swabhava refers to the very nature, innate nature of the living entities. All these are coming from Lord Krishna, that Lord Vasudev, that is what Lord Brahma mentions upfront. And then he prays to the Lord. The Vedic literatures are made by and are meant for the Supreme Lord. The demigods, devatas, are also meant for serving the Lord as parts of his body. The different planets are also meant for the sake of the Lord, and different sacrifices are performed just to please him. Can we think of any related verse, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, in Srimad Bhagavatam, the portion what we have studied till now? There is a similar verse and prayer that is offered by.
Vasudeva Paradeva, Vasudeva Paramaka, Vasudeva Para, uh, Para,
You can
then
open
Vasu,
the verse, Mataji, so we can properly recite for all devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let me check, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure, sure. So this is the right answer. So as the, one second, let me open it here.
It's 1, 2, 28 and 29.
29, yeah.
Thank you. 1, 2, right?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. I think I know this. Vasudeva Para, that one, right?
Yes.
Vasudeva Para Yoga, Vasudeva Para Amakaha, Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva param Jnanam, Vasudevam param Tapah, Vasudevo paro Dharma, Vasudeva param Gati. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So we see this glorification of the Lord by Suta Goswami in reference to the questions put forth by the sages of Naimisharanya. Here also Lord Brahma is referring to Lord Krishna as Narayana, as the supreme object of all the scriptures, all knowing. The object of all the Vedas is to know the Supreme Lord. Plus, he is, even the Devatas, they are ultimately meant for serving the Supreme Lord, and different planets are also meant for the pleasure of the Lord, and different sacrifices are also meant to please him. So Lord Brahma acknowledges the position of the Supreme Lord, and he continues with his prayers. And then he begins to answer specifically question number 3 by Narada Muni. So after answering question 2 and 5, answers for both of which is Lord Krishna is the shelter and all the creation is ultimately resting upon Lord Krishna. These are the question 2 and 5. Then Brahmaji begins to refer to question 3, which is how this creation takes place. So he mentions Tasyapi drashtur ishasya kutasthasyakhilatmanah srujam srujami srushtoham ek iksha yaiva bichoditah. So inspired by him, by Lord Krishna only, Lord Brahma, I discover what is already created by him. Under his vision as the all-pervading super soul, I am also created by him only. So what to speak of me being a creator? Not only I do create based on what Lord Narayan, Lord Krishna has created, but I myself have been created by Lord Krishna himself. One second. Yes. And then Lord Brahma mentions Karya Karana Kartutve Dravya Jnana Krupashrayah. So Badnanti Nityada Muktam Ma Inam Purusham Gunaha. So then he starts explaining from text number 18 onwards how the Supreme Lord, one second, I'm trying to find out. Yeah, the Supreme Lord, transcendental to all material qualities, yet for the sake of creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance. So when we say the Lord accepts these three modes, that means he creates the guna avtaras for the process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation in the form of Lord Brahma in charge of mode of passion for creation, Lord Vishnu in charge of mode of goodness, which is responsible for maintenance, and Lord Shiva in charge of mode of ignorance for the annihilation of this creation. These three modes of material nature being further manifested as matter, knowledge, and activities, Dravya, Kriya, Karya, Karana, Kartutve, Dravya, Jnana, Kriya, Shraya. So, Karya, to perform the activities, the Lord manifests various Dravya or the elements of material nature. Karana, Kriya, Shrava. One second, let me refer to. Yeah. So through Kriya Shakti, the Lord manifests the intelligence and the senses which are responsible for performing the karya, which are responsible for performing the actions. And through through Jnana Shakti, the Lord manifests the mind and the different devatas who are in charges of various senses. We'll come to this chart once again. O Brahmana, Narada, the superseer, the transcendent Lord is beyond the perception of the material senses of the living entities because of the above mentioned three modes of nature, but he is the controller of everyone, including me. And then he goes into the details how these objects that were mentioned, including the Dravya Shakti, including the material elements, the Kriya Shakti, the 10 senses, and the Jnana Shakti, the mind and the Devatas for these different senses, how they are manifested one by one. Kalam karma swabhavam cha ma esho mayaya swaya atman yadruchaya praptam vibhu bhushur upadade. The Lord, who is the controller of all energies, thus creates by his own potency. What all he creates? Three things: Kala, Karma, and Swabhava. So, Kala is eternal time, and Karma, that we mentioned a while ago, the fate of all living entities. That means the activities that the living entities do and the resultant reactions as a result of those activities that the living entities derive, which is called as karma or the fate of all living entities, and their specific swabhava, that means their specific innate nature, particular nature. These are all created, these all come from the Supreme Lord. And he creates them, and before the next step happens, the actual creation takes place, he also merges these three things: Kala, Karma, and Swabhava within himself. And this is where the concept of Pradhana comes about. So last time we were not sure what is the difference between Pradhana and Mahatattva. So this is also explained in Bhagavatam in text. So this creation is mentioned at few places in Bhagavatam. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, two times creation is discussed. In the third canto, it is discussed three times. So there are multiple references, some of which I have taken. So the difference between Pradhana and Mahatattva, we can find in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in chapter 26 in text 10 and 12. So instead of reading the translation, which devotees, I don't want you to get off track and get totally lost, I will try to explain in simple English based on Srila Prabhupada's disciples' explanation. So Pradhana, it is the undifferentiated material elements. So when the, and Srila Prabhupada gives the example, just like the cosmic soup, when all the material elements are undifferentiated, when they are together in a homogeneous matter or homogeneous element, they are called as pradhana. Whereas Mahatattva, it is the manifested elements. So all the elements, when they are manifested and still together, they form Mahatattva. So from the unmanifested Pradhana comes the manifested Mahatattva. So Kala, Karma, and Swabhava, they are created by the Lord and then immersed within his own body in the form of Pradhana, when they are in the form of like the cosmic soup. That is the word Srila Prabhupada uses. And these unmanifested elements that are together, they come out in the form of differentiated elements, which is called Mahatattva, not Sattva, Mahatattva. So from unmanifested comes about the manifested form of the elements which are still together. And from Mahatattva, let's go verse by verse. Yes, Murli.
doubt.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Pradhana is the seed and Mahatattva is the tree, putting it in a understanding way for myself.
Yeah. So Mahatattva specifically Srila Prabhupada mentions it is the medium between the spiritual and the material. So you are right, Pradhana is the seed, but seed in a where the individual elements are mixed together and not manifested differently. But Mahatattva, these raw ingredients for the creation, they are manifested individually within Mahatattva. So
Okay,
this,
but still we don't have the tree yet.
Correct.
That's what.
We don't have the tree yet. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna. And why we are discussing this, while we saw it briefly last time, I would show one small clip from that YouTube video, how Mataji explains it, that she, out of her own humility, she mentions that while we are trying to understand this, my dear students and children, please understand, don't get discouraged, even if all the technical details don't become don't we don't understand them in one go. We should, the very purpose of studying all this is to know Lord Krishna is the creator of this cosmic manifestation. That is the purpose. So as long as that purpose is there at the back of mind, studying it n number of times also should not be very tiring and boring. That is what Mataji says. So let me go through the verse. So after this Kala, Swabhava, and what is the third? Yeah, Kala, Karma, and Swabhava, they are manifested by the Lord and merged again within his body. That is called as Pradhana. And from Pradhana comes the Mahatattva, which is the manifested form of all these Kala, Karma, and Swabhava. After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karano Dakshai Vishnu, Mahatattva, or the principles of material creation take place, and then time is manifested. And in course of time, the three qualities appear. That means when the Kala Shakti, the time factor of the Lord, interacts with Mahatattva, through that interaction of the time factor with Mahatattva, the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are manifested. But before manifestation of the three modes, ahankar or false ego is manifested. So false ego combined with ignorance will give rise to Dravya Shakti. False ego combined with mode of passion or Rajogun will give rise to Kriya Shakti. And false ego combined with goodness gives rise to Jnana Shakti or Adhyatma. Similarly, Kala, the time factor of the Lord, plus Mahatattva gives rise to Ahankar or false ego.
Prabhuji, you said, just said that Pradhana is the
Unmanifested.
seed. No, it's manifested. No?
Mahatattva is manifested, Mataji. Pradhana is unmanifested. So let me
It
just.
should be a tree, no, is it not possible? It's.
Sorry, come again.
If it is manifested, the tree manifests into, the seed manifests into a tree.
Tree word was used by Murli Prabhu. Okay, we are, as far as the explanation in Srimad Bhagavatam is concerned, let me just go back to that statement. So Pradhana is non-differentiated and unmanifested elements. Okay, whereas Mahatattva, it is the manifested. The different elements are differentiated and manifest within Mahatattva.
One example can you give, Prabhuji? One example.
Hare Krishna. Let me. So unmanifested example is correct. Seed. That means all the characteristics of a banyan tree are there in the form of a seed. But those characteristics we can't differentiate. If we break open the seed, we can't differentiate whether the banyan tree, how big it will be, and how many branches, how long a branches it will have. All those characteristics are present in the form of seed, but they are in an unmanifested state. So that is the example for a Pradhana, Mataji. And what is the example of for a Mahatattva? I'm thinking, I don't know what is the example for a Mahatattva we can give.
Prabhuji, can
Yes.
I try my?
Yes, Murli Prabhu.
Prabhuji, is it something like, if you are looking from a human perspective, same thing? Yeah. Pradhana is the egg itself.
Egg, yeah, I was about to say egg.
Mahatattva is the womb in which the child is, and then the child himself is the full creation.
Cosmic manifest. I'll just make slight difference. So egg example is okay. When egg is unfertilized, when the embryo is still in the form of that yellow pulp and not developed in terms of senses, etc., we can consider it as pradhana. But when the egg is fertilized, say around, if we consider a normal egg, chicken egg, then it gets fertilized very close to the fertilization period, say 16, 17, 18 day, when the chicken within the egg is formed, the senses are formed, that can be considered as Mahatattva, where the elements are manifested and they are differentiated. So they have not just come out yet in the form of the creation, but they are definitely manifested. Is that all right, Prema Priya
Yes,
Mataji?
yes.
Hare
So
Krishna.
once the egg breaks and the chicken comes out, it becomes creation.
It becomes creation in the form of the created, but that is much later. There are still stages in between.
Yeah.
This is a very, and trust me, these examples we are coming up with our very tiny intelligence. So these examples are just to understand the principle. Don't take it literally, because these examples are not given by Krishna or Prabhupada. Okay?
One more
Yeah,
thing about the spider, Prabhuji. You told
yes.
me that the spider creates its web and then annihilates it. Just takes
It
draws.
can annihilate. So not always. Sometimes we see spider webs lying like that in the old buildings or room if they are not cleaned, but it can consume as well. So the web it is able to create and it is able to consume also.
So would it be we clear the cobwebs in the house? It's a need, it's necessity. And is it a sin that we are doing by doing?
No. The Prabhupada said we should keep the houses clean, and cobweb is a symptom that the house has not been looked after for very long.
Yeah.
We can clean. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So
I agree, Prabhuji. Our intelligence is small, so it's just we are trying to figure out this whole manifestation in our with our
It's
Maya Shakti,
It's very
covered
abstract,
with.
Prabhuji.
Yes. Yeah, but trust me, since last Sunday and this Sunday, I feel much more encouraged and enlivened to study the creation. Up till the time Krishna reveals it to us to his degree of pleasure, to his degree of satisfaction, we would try from our side, because our acharyas have given so much emphasis, Brahmaji, Shukadev Goswami, and so on, and Goswamis, etc. So we should also put our intelligence to at least try to understand as much as possible. After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karano Dakshaya Vishnu, the Mahatattva, this we read, in course of time, the three qualities appear, then we proceed. Material activities are caused by Mahatattva being agitated. So Lord Mahavishnu or Karano Dakshaya Vishnu, he puts his glance on the Mahatattva, which agitates the material elements, which initiates or ignites the process of creation. Mahatattva is being agitated. At first, there is a transformation of the modes of goodness, passion, and later, due to the mode of ignorance, matter, its knowledge, and different activities of material knowledge come into play. So this sequence is further given. The self-centered materialistic ego. So here the false ego or ahankar. What I have done, last time I had mentioned only the word as ahankar. This time in the bracket I have mentioned false ego. Just English versus English, easier to relate. So when this false ego is transformed into goodness, passion, and ignorance, so in three divisions, namely the powers that evolve matter, the knowledge of the material creations, and the intelligence that guides such materialistic activities. So when false ego interacts with the mode of ignorance, the gross elements are created first, including the earth, water, fire, air, ether. And along with these gross elements, the sense objects for those elements are also created from subtle to gross. So most subtle element is ether, and the corresponding sense object for ether, corresponding sense for ether is ear, and corresponding sense object for ear is sound. So sound is created first, then the corresponding material element, and then more grosser than sound is the material element of is the sense object of touch, which corresponds to air. So touch is created followed by the material element of air. So from subtle to gross, the material elements, and from subtle to gross, the sense objects are created. So ether, then air, then fire, then water, and then earth. And then we discussed this last time, how each preceding how each succeeding element, it carries the characteristic of that element plus predecessors. So say for example, air, it has the characteristic of touch plus sound. Similarly, fire, it has the characteristic of form plus touch plus sound. Water, it has the characteristic of taste plus form plus touch plus sound, so on and so forth. So this we had seen last time.
So basically, I mean, putting my scientific side, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
So this part which we are discussing right now is actually happening in the sun, where you are first having the energy, first the creation of the various materials, then the air, the vapors, yes. Then afterwards, when it cools down, it becomes a water and then becomes solid, and then that's kind of a analogy. I mean,
And
yeah, we can see that.
thank you, Murli Prabhu. So coming back to this description, the false ego interact.
Prabhuji, Venkat Narasimhadas Prabhuji has raised his hand.
Hare Krishna, Venkata Narasimha Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
In
Prabhu.
the Subodhini, Adi Daiva is referred as Adi Jnana Shakti.
Which one, Prabhuji? Which translation? Text number?
In this chart, in the
Chart. Yes, Prabhuji.
the
Yes,
chart
Prabhuji.
here, Jnana Shakti is Adhyatma you have mentioned.
Correct,
But
correct.
here in the Subodhini, it is written as Adi Daiva.
Let me check. 1 second, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
In this
Jnana Shakti is goodness, Kriya Shakti is passion. 1 second. Yes, it is consistent, na Prabhuji? And Karya Shakti is the ignorance. So there is no mismatch. What was your question, Prabhuji?
this Jnana Shakti is mentioned as Adi
Okay,
Daiva
Adi Daiva. Okay, hang on.
instead of
Okay,
Adhyatma.
got it. Okay, sorry. Thanks for point. But this, Prabhuji, just to avoid any confusion, let me just double check once also that whatever class I Adi Daiva. Let me just double confirm this because don't want to cause confusion. Okay, noted. Okay. So the self-centered materialistic ego, thus being transformed into 3 features, becomes known as goodness, passion, and ignorance in 3 divisions, namely the powers that evolve matter, knowledge of the material creations, and the intelligence that guides such materialistic activities. So the ahankar or false ego, it interacts with these 3 modes of material nature, ignorance, passion, and goodness, to create from subtle to gross. First, the sense object and material elements, followed by the working senses, followed by the sense devatas and the mind. So, let me proceed. From the darkness of false ego, first of the 5 elements, namely sky, is created. So, this is the sequence we just spoke about. Sky means the ether. So first ether, then air, then fire, water, and earth is generated. Its subtle form is the quality of sound, exactly as the seer is in relationship with the seen. Then, because the sky is transformed, air is generated, and within the quality of touch by the previous succession, the air is also full of sound. the basic principles of duration of life: sense perception, mental power, and bodily strength. And when air is transformed in the course of time and nature's course, fire is generated. And then from fire, water, from water, earth, it becomes generated. I'm trying to find out for this Jnana Shakti, the Adidaiva, we should be able to find reference in this only. Let me check. Some of you can also check the purports, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, and if you are able to find out, help the team of devotees to correct here. From the goodness, the mind is generated and becomes manifest. So here it is mentioned Adidaiva. And as also the 10 demigods controlling the bodily movements, such demigods are known as the controller of directions, like sun god, Daksha Prajapati, Ashwini Kumaras, fire god, and so on and so forth. Can anyone search for this Adi Daiva word, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, in these purports? You can do a Control F and see that it relates to goodness. One second. Hare Krishna. Any luck for any devotee? Hare Krishna. All right, let me check that later. By further transformation of the mode of passion, the sense organs like the ear, skin, nose, eyes, tongues, mouth, hands, genitals, like legs, outlets for evacuating, together with intelligence and living energy, are all generated. So interaction of the false ego with the mode of passion, it generates the 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And when all these elements for the creation, they are assembled together, then Lord expands from Mahavishnu to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu to enter into all these universes in which these elements have been manifested to initiate the creation by creating the first living entity, which is Lord Brahma. And this would come in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. But Brahma himself prays for the creative energy. That means he himself prays for the intelligence, how he can combine together these material elements to create the living entities, which is his service. So that would come, there is a specific chapter in the Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is entitled Brahma's Prayers for Material Energy, for the Creative Energy. I believe it is chapter 6. Creation, not here. Yeah, sorry, chapter number 9. Lord Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. So this is one of the places where this creation is further discussed in detail.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Venkata
There is
Narasimha.
a mention about this Adi Bhota, Adi Daiva, Adhyatma in 23 purport.
23 purport. Okay, let me
But
just open
in
one
the
second.
ending.
Okay, okay, Prabhuji. 2, 5, 23. But
19 and 23, it's given.
23.
Yeah,
And
20.
does it also mention the mode of goodness?
No, no other details, Prabhuji.
Okay, only the.
Yeah, only that word is mentioned.
Okay, okay, understood.
It is mentioned, but it linking to the three gunas is not mentioned,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Okay, okay, fine. Let me just find that out separately. So coming back to the chart, after these elements are created, they remain for thousands of years before the beginning of the creation, because Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu needs to enter into each of these universe to further initiate the process of secondary creation through creating Lord Brahma himself. Varsha Puga Sahasrante Tat Andam Udake Shayam. So Andam means the Brahmanda, this particular universe. Many of these universes, they remain floating in the Karanodakshaye, in the Karanodak ocean, till the time Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters into each of them. Thus, all the universes remain thousands of eons within the water, the causal ocean, and the Lord of the living beings entering in each of them cause them to be fully animated. The Lord Mahavishnu, although lying in the causal ocean, came out of it and dividing himself as Hiranyagarbha. And Hiranyagarbha is nothing but Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So Lord from Mahavishnu further expands himself in the form of Garbhodaksha Vishnu to enter each universe and assumed Virata Rupa. So this Virata Rupa also, last time I think this question was asked by Prema Priya Mataji, that why Virat Rupa is mentioned when Garbhodaksha Vishnu is Lord's personal form and Virata Rupa is Lord's imaginary form. So this explanation I got the answer. Lord Brahma, when he is praying in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam for creative energy, it is explained that Lord Brahma, by studying this Virata Rupa form of the Lord, understands how he should be creating different living entities within the different planets. Why? Because this Virata Rupa, different planetary systems, let me just 1 second, different planetary systems, namely the lower planetary systems, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. These are mentioned as different bodily limbs and parts of the Lord below his waist. Bhurloka, or the earthly planet, is considered like the west of the Lord. And all the upper planetary systems, starting from Bhurloka, Swargaloka, etc., they form the upper body of the Lord. So Bhagavatam explains, by studying this Virata Rupa, Lord Brahma got the nitty-gritty details clarified, how he should be creating the living entities corresponding to these planets. So this is the significance of Garbhodaksha Vishnu manifesting the Virata Rupa to in turn guide subsequent first created being Lord Brahma for secondary creation. Is that all right, Prema Priya Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, I was muted.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
So Mahavishnu expands as Hiranyagarbha or Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Garbhodaksha Vishnu assumes the Virata Rupa with thousands of legs, arms, etc., who in turn guides Lord Brahma for creation. The great philosophers imagine that the complete planetary systems in the universe are displays of the different upper and lower limbs of the universal body of the Lord. So different 14 planetary systems, they form the different bodily limbs. So first, the Varnas are mentioned. The Brahmanas, they represent Lord's mouth. Kshatriyas represent his arms, Vaishyas the thighs, and Shudras the legs. And that's why Bhagavad Gita mentions that feeding the Brahmanas, the pure Brahmanas, it is as good as feeding the Supreme Lord. So Brahmanas as well as the fire, both are mentioned as the mouth of the Lord. So offerings that we make in the fire sacrifices plus the prasadam that we feed to the Brahmanas, even Bhagavatam mentions, Supreme Lord directly accepts it.
Hare
And
Krishna Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
This is a continuation. Same. I got the confusion again.
Yeah,
So that Karanodavashai Vishnu is while he is
exhaling.
exhaling, so many antas are coming, and
Correct.
each anda that Garbhodakshai Vishnu is going. Am I
Correct.
right?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
So in each anda there will be an I mean Purushavatara. I mean not Purushavatara. That Rupa will be there.
Sorry, come again. What was the last statement?
That
Virat Rupa.
Virat Rupa. Sorry, yeah,
Yes,
Virat Rupa.
is there in each
So
of these universes. Correct.
yet when it is exhaling, so everything will go to again. That means even the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu and Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, everyone is going to.
About the Supreme Lord, no, only the material elements, Mataji, in general. Okay, so because Garbhodaksha Vishnu is not part of the Mahatattva, he is the Supreme Lord. But only the material elements, they go in the body of Mahavishnu in the dormant shape and then remain in the body of Mahavishnu till the next creation takes place.
Okay, that means every that all the Mahatattva and all these things is going to Karanodakashaya Vishnu.
Karunodaksha
Body.
Vishnu. Correct, correct.
Body.
And
Okay,
why I'm
waiting
saying,
for. Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Yes,
yeah,
Prabhu.
why I am saying not Garbhodaksha Vishnu, because Garbhodaksha Vishnu and even Kshirodaksha Vishnu, who is the Paramatma, Kshirodaksha Vishnu's planet is Shvetadvipa. So these personalities and their respective planets are mentioned as spiritual planets within the material universe. So although the material universe is for a period of time, but these personalities, they are eternally performing their services in the form of expansions of the Lord in the material creation. So they remain always. Okay,
Hare
Mataji?
Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
That means Kshira Sakara and Garbha Sakara and Karana Sakara. These all will be permanent.
Yeah, so just one thing, Kshira Sagara is in Kshirodaksha Vishnu Shvetadvip. Okay. Karanodok ocean is where Mahavishnu is lying outside this universe, and Garbhodaksha Vishnu specifically, he only creates Garbhodak Sagar to half fill the Brahmanda, to half fill this
Okay,
particular universe, so that all the different planetary systems can float within that. So that is mentioned as that is a created water out of his bodily secretion, out of his sweat, Garbhodakshay ocean. But as far as the Mahavishnu's, Karanadoksha is Vishnu's, Karanodok Sagar is concerned, all the universes are always coming out and going in his body. But Garbhodak ocean is created by the Garbhodaksha Vishnu after he enters into each universe. Is that all right?
he is the super soul of all the.
Kshirodaksha Vishnu is the super soul. Kshirodaksha. But Kshirodaksha Vishnu resides in Shvetadvipa.
Kshirodakasaya Vishnu, that is for the material, that means the living entity, that's Jiva's
Not
super
just
soul.
not just Jivas, he is also there in matter as well. There is one verse from Brahma Sam. Andantarastham Paramanu Chayatar. So he's in,
Yeah, he is the but the Anta's super soul is
Garbhodaksha
Garbhodakashaya
Vishnu.
Vishnu.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that is okay. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So let's try to cover. Yeah, Brahmanas, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, they denote the mouth, the arms, the thighs, and the legs of the Virat Rupa. Then it is mentioned the lower planetary systems up to the limit of earthly stratum are said to be situated in his legs. The middle planetary systems, beginning from Bhur Loka, are situated in his navel. So all the planetary systems till Earth, where is this 14? Yeah. So till Bhur Loka and below, everything is located below Virat Rupa's west. And Bhur Loka, which is just above earthly planet, is located above west in his navel. And higher planetary systems, Swargaloka, Maharloka, they are located further up. And still, higher planetary systems occupied by demigods and highly cultured sages and saints are situated in the chest of the Supreme Lord. From the forefront of the chest up to the neck are situated the planetary systems named as Janaloka, Tapaloka. So total higher planetary systems up till Maharloka are located in the chest of the Lord. Janaloka, Tapaloka are situated in Virat Purusha's neck, and Satyaloka is denoted or represented by Virata Rupa's head that would be mentioned. Yeah, the same is mentioned here compared to the different bodily limbs of the Virat form of the Lord. One second. Others may divide the whole planetary system into the three divisions, namely the lower planetary systems on the legs up to the earth, the middle planetary systems on the navel, and the upper planetary system, Swargaloka, from the chest to the head of the personality of Godhead. So this is how the planetary systems are divided amongst different bodily limbs. So now there comes a very interesting exercise, which, so this particular devotee on the top left is Arudha Mataji. You can connect the face to the name, and yeah, amazing devotee. So she gives a very nice exercise to the children, and I think we can try also, based on how with our very tiny intelligence we have tried to understand the process of creation on this particular chapter in one page, not too long. She asked the children to write in their own words the sequence of events, how the creation takes place, based on the flow chart as well as the text of chapter 5. So if devotees are okay, can we also request everyone to draft one pager, their understanding of how does the creation takes place based on the verses and based on the chart that we have discussed. Is it okay, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna, before we meet next time?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would,
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
so don't worry, even if, and one more thing, in this particular video at 1 hour 15 minutes, Arudha Mataji herself mentions that this process of creation, while we have tried to understand it, we can never be too confident or sure that we have understood everything, but we are putting our level best. That's what Mataji also admits and acknowledges. So this is just a sequence that is given. Krishna expands as Mahavishnu. He lies in the causal ocean. The universes come out of his breathing from his pores of his body, and they remain scattered on the Karanodak ocean. And they remain scattered for thousands of years based on the verse we saw from Lord Brahma. And then Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, entering each of these universes. And then he assumes Virata Rupa. As we saw, it is not mentioned in 5th chapter, but as we can see in the 3rd canto, specifically Virata Rupa form is to guide Lord Brahma for his service of creation. And then all the planetary systems are represented by various bodily limbs of Virata Rupa, including upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. And the 4 Varnas are also represented by various limbs of his body. And
Spelling of her name, Prabhuji, Mataji's name?
Arudha, Arudha.
Arudha. Yes.
I can share this link also, not an
Yes,
issue.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So I think we spent one particular session, but I really wanted to give a best possible chance for us to be as much clear as we can before we move to the next one, and not push this under the carpet as something which we don't relish or like. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Only thing is, Prabhuji, is ahankara, false ego. So, according to my little knowledge, ahankara is it's a behavior, pattern of behavior, no? And how behaving?
Behavior is influenced because of false understanding that we are the Lord and Master. So the result of ahankara is what you are referring to, Mataji. Okay, but that is also referred to as false ego or ahankar, like how a person considers himself as the Lord and Master. But the origin of that action is coming through this particular sequence, that ultimately, like we have false ego where we consider ourselves as the Lord and Master of the creation, there is also a true ego. So ego is not bad, but false ego is bad. True ego is we understanding ourselves as the part and parcel, as the servant of the Lord. So that is a good thing. But false ego is when we consider ourselves as the proprietor, controller, and enjoyer, which is Lord Krishna.
No, you say from Mahatattva, ahankara arises, no?
Correct.
Yeah. That one concept I was not able to comprehend.
You can understand that ahankara here, it means ego, and mahatattva plus ego creates all these three modes of material nature. So ahankara that you mentioned is the manifestation of that ahankara in our day-to-day life in the form of ego, material ego, Mataji. But it is ultimately coming from Lord Krishna as the ego in its true form. It is all pure. Say for example, our mind, intelligence, and ego, that is our subtle body we call, and it is with us till the time we go back to Godhead. When it is time to go back to Godhead, we get a spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence, and true ego. So these are there in the material form as our subtle body in the material life, but in the spiritual world, while going, we get a spiritual set of mind, intelligence, and true ego, which are with us in the spiritual world.
Provided we work on it, we have to work on it, not for
Work on it.
Become material to become spiritual. The spiritualization, we have to work on it.
Work on it, correct. And just like we give up our material body and accept a spiritual body, similarly, while going back to Godhead, we also give up our subtle body also of material mind, material intelligence, and material ego. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Prabhuji, instead of ego, if you use consciousness, I think that will be, we can understand better, right?
See, I don't want to change unless I see it in.
No, I'm for our understanding. I'm saying, because normally we say ego means like it's in a negative term. So when you say conscious, you're conscious of everything. So I think for our understanding, we can use it that way.
Yeah, but just still one thing very important to know, that ego has got negative connotation only because of it being in a contaminated state. But Prabhupada does refer to true ego in his classes. So there is, ego is not bad in general if we understand it truly in relationship to Krishna.
So, I mean, I think Shamagopika Mataji has raised her hand, Prabhuji. After that, I'll seek some clarification on ego itself.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Shamagopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Danvat Pranam. Yeah, Prabhuji, I had a question like after annihilation, right? What happens to Garbhodakashai Vishnu and Shirodakshai Vishnu? Is it like they merge into?
One thing I read about all these Vishnus, Purush Avtaras, that although they are Lord Krishna's expansions, their service is mainly in the material world, cosmic manifestation. So what happens exactly I can read, but that one statement I read in Srila Prabhupada's purport, that although they are expansions of the Lord, they are eternally serving in the material world as long as the material world has been in existence, which is since eternity. So one thing is definitely sure, that it is not that they go back to spiritual world and they come back again. They are eternally serving here. But I will read more details, Mataji, what happens exactly to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay. And also one more thing I have read for Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Srila Prabhupada mentions that in the material world also, there are planets which are eternal, and he gives the reference to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, where Shwetadvip is there, which is basically the residence of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So material world, annihilation takes place doesn't mean like in the normal annihilation, even up to these 14 planetary systems, everything apart from the top 4, that means everything below Maharloka, it gets annihilated at every end of day of Lord Brahma. But when Brahmaji's lifespan ends, then even the 4 top planetary systems also get annihilated. And then only thing that remains is the spiritual planet, like Shvetadvip and so on and so forth. But for Garbhodakshay Vishnu, I will check, Mataji.
Prabhuji, even Brahmaloka, I've heard there are two Brahmalokas.
Two
One is
Brahmaloka.
eternal, one is Brahmalokas, two Brahmalokas. One eternal, one material, Prabhuji.
No. So Brahma is a living entity who is there for a specific time. If Brahma, a suitable candidate, is not found, then Lord Krishna expands himself sometimes to accept this role. That is also mentioned. But Brahmaloka, it also gets annihilated, and that is mentioned clearly in Bhagavatam, Mataji.
Satyaloka and Brahma, I read Samit Prabhuji, Satyaloka and Brahmaloka.
They are same. They are same.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Divya Rukmini.
Prabhu, is it? Can you please explain one second how the kala and karma is affecting to the soul? So, because the soul is the part and part of that Krishna. So Krishna is not affected to karma. It's a akarma. It's a that he is not affected.
He's beyond
beyond the karma. So even we are the part and parcel of Krishna. So our soul also not affected to the karma. No. So how we are taking the next birth, all the karmas and everything is coming back to us, Prabhu.
I'll try to answer based on what I have read in Srila Prabhupada's books. If we refer to the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, where Srila Prabhupada writes about 5 topics of discussion in Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Ishvara,
Yes,
Jiva,
Kala.
Allow me to answer, otherwise the flow is broken. Ishvara, Jiva, Karma, Kala, and Prakriti. So out of these 5 items, he mentions 4 are eternal, 1 is temporary, and that temporary is karma. So Kala is eternal time factor, karma is the fate or activities of the living entities, which is temporary till the time we go back home, back to Godhead. And Swabhava is the nature of the living entities, which they carry from one life to another. So before the next creation takes place, whatever is karma phala or the reactions of their activities due to the living entities, plus whatever is the nature that they would be inheriting based on their previous activities in the previous lives. So that is carried forward and given to the living entities before the next creation takes place. So karma and swabhava, they are temporary till the time we go back home, back to Godhead, and they form the part of creation and given to the individual living entities. So till the time we go back home, back to Godhead. And Kala is eternal time factor, Mataji. So that's why they are primarily injected by the Lord.
Yeah, can I, Prabhu? So
yes.
karma is when as long as we are here in this material world, we have that karma. So when we are going back, that karma is it's
correct. We have to clear it out. We have to clear it out, and that verse comes.
If we are not clearing it out, then the karma will come with us.
No, we'll have to stay back in the material world till the time we clear it out. So that verse comes in Brahma Samhita.
It's not clear. So yeah.
So when we are going back home, back to Godhead, we definitely have to clear out all our karmas. So here in Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned, karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. That means the process of bhakti yoga, it nirdahati means destroys, burns up all the karmas. So we have to totally clear. Credit, debit, everything we have to clear. Then we can go back home, back to Godhead.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So when we are coming back, how the previous karmas are catching us. So like we are loading over to the material world. That is, how it is coming, Prabhu? I don't know.
So whatever activities and whatever desires we have carried at the time of our death, they, according to that, the next body is designed, and that next body carries both the karma phala from our past lives as well as our very nature. That sometimes we find a child is inherently very short fused, short tempered. So that is a swabhava that has been carried from the last life. But both these we'll have to give up before we go back to Godhead, and we will carry our true swabhava, our true nature as whatever is our, what is that word? That is Swarupa Siddhi, whatever is our eternal relationship with the Lord, that swabhava will carry. For example, there are associates of Lord Krishna who carry a specific swabhava. Say Krishna's wife, Satyabhama, she gets upset with Krishna very quickly, but that is her Swabhava, and Krishna enjoys that. So even when Satyabhama comes in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes as Jagadananda Pandit, he is also carrying that nature. He is also very short-tempered. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't accept the gift from him. He had basically prepared the sandalwood oil. He immediately breaks the pots of sandalwood oil and throws it on the ground. So he gets very angry very quickly. So that is his Swabhava, but that is Swabhava with respect to spiritual nature. But this is karma and Swabhava with respect to what we are carrying in the material world till the time we go back to Godhead. But Kala is a eternal, it's a time factor of Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One more. So when we are the annihilation takes place, that means we are just going to Karana's Karanodakashaya Vishnu. We are not reaching anywhere.
Yeah, we are still in the material world, and
Material
Karanodaksha
world.
Vishnu is also in the material world. So that his
Okay.
service as expansion of Lord Krishna is in the material world. Purusha Avtaras.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One query, Prabhu. We are saying Brahmaji is a living entity,
Yes.
but he does not have a material body, correct? So, Prabhuji, then how, like,
No,
because every living entity has a material body, no?
Brahmaji has body that has been created. So Brahmaji's body is also subject to destruction. Okay. So he does have material. Just that he is a pure
material body has a mass. I'm sure Brahmalok, he might not have a mass, body with a mass.
It is just a very long living. That is the only thing, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita clearly mentions Brahma Bhunar Loka, that his body is also subject to destruction. His body, he is also subject to death. Brahmaji. Clear Bhagavad Gita mentions. So just that he is a pure devotee of the Lord, and his lifespan is very, very long. That is true. But he has a material body.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
But Prabhuji, Narada, his son, he does not. He has
Narada is
body.
Divya. Yes, Narada Muni is Divya. He is Nitya Siddha devotee eternally, and that is also confirmed in Bhagavatam. So in this particular creation, and that is mentioned in the, I think, fifth or sixth chapter of first canto, Narada Muni himself mentions when the next creation takes place, he mentions to Vyasadeva, then I came in the form of Lord Brahma's son in carrying my own transcendental body. So that was the arrangement for this particular kalpa, this particular day of Lord Brahma. But his body is eternal based on his spiritual credit. So in this particular creation, Narada Muni is appearing as Brahma's son.
Okay, otherwise in other creation, he is not his son.
It is not mentioned, so we can't say yes or no. It is not mentioned. When Narada Muni narrates to Vyasadev, he narrates Brahmaji's last day and this day. So Narada's birth in Brahma's last kalpa and current kalpa he narrates. So only based on that we know.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, there's one more question, Prabhuji.
Yes,
one more
yes, Murli. Yes, Prabhuji.
Rohini Mataji has raised her hand.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
you
Rohini.
can go ahead, Prabhuji. You had a question.
No, I think you can carry on. And I'll ask him later.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. When you were saying, you said when we go back, the material mind and intelligence is
And
not.
ego. And ego.
And ego. So when we get back to our spiritual, I mean the form, Swarupa, then we have different
spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence.
mind and intelligence, is it?
Yes, Mataji. And spiritual ego, true ego.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, he explains that when a conditioned soul is eligible to go back to God, at first we are given a birth in an universe where Krishna's pastimes in the form of Vrindavan pastimes are ongoing, and we are given like a apprenticeship, like a dress rehearsal, how we have to act in the spiritual world. We are taught in live demo in Krishna's pastimes, wherever it is happening in the material creation. Is that all right, Rohini Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, Murli Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji. I think I'll send you I will send a message through you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah? I think
Okay.
we're almost at the time. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think, I hope, I can't claim that we have understood 100%, but definitely we did put a try to the best of our ability and intellect to try to understand this, and not, at least for myself, I can say that I don't feel repelled by it now. In fact, I am more curious to study the next sections, even in Canto 3, when there is a discussion about creation. We are a bit more equipped than earlier on to read and understand it, and not as blank as we were earlier. Hare Krishna. So if there is no other question, thank you all very much. And in the next sitting, we will start with chapter 6 onwards. And as we are approaching closure of Canto 2, we would form the groups and also plan for the group activity of presentations for the combined section 1, which is Canto 1 and Canto 2. So only 5 chapters are remaining. So slowly and gradually, mentally, you can be ready to prepare for open book test, which will be at the end of Canto 2, and to prepare for the group presentations, which would also be at the end of Canto 2. So just 5 more chapters. So total 10 chapters are there. Hare Krishna.
Exam of this chapter, Prabhuji.
Test, yeah. So if you are all comfortable, then next week we can have the unit test. And don't get too bogged down by the technical details. We'll still keep a paper which will be medium level, which will be okay for everyone as such, not too complex. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vamcha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Vaishnav Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.